For all of you who have requested a high G arpeggio play-along, this video is for you. In this lesson, you'll learn a beautiful chord progression and 2 arpeggio finger-picking patterns. First, we'll take a look at how to play the chords in this progression, and then you can join me for 4 play-alongs. In the first play-along, we'll use pattern 1, and in the second play-along, we'll use pattern 2. Then in the third and fourth play-alongs, which are my favorite, I'll show you how to use a combination of the 2 patterns. These play-alongs are great practice, not only for developing your finger-picking skills, but also for practicing your chord changes as well. Now, if you'd like to join me for play-alongs using low G tuning, using the same chord progression, but patterns that are more suitable for low G tuning, then check out this video. So let's start by looking at how to play the chords that are used in this progression. Our first chord is E minor. Here I have my index finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, my middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and my ring finger on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. Our next chord is A minor add 9. Here we're starting with our standard A minor chord, which is the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and we're adding the 2nd fret of the 1st string, which is the 9th note in our A minor scale. This is a B note. So here's our A minor add 9 chord. Our next chord is D. Now from our A minor add 9 chord, we're going to lift up our ring finger and place our middle and ring fingers down on the 2nd fret of strings 3 and 2. We're keeping our index finger in place, so now we have the 2nd fret covered on strings 4, 3, and 2. Next we have G major 7. We're going to move all 3 fingers down 1 string. So now we're covering the 2nd fret of strings 3, 2, and 1. Our next chord is C. You can play C with either your ring finger or your pinky on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. Then we have our G chord. I'm playing G with my index and middle fingers on the 2nd fret of strings 3 and 1, and my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And then we have our A minor chord. To play A minor, I have my index finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and just like we went from A minor add 9 to D, we'll have a similar transition from A minor to D by placing down our middle and ring fingers on the 2nd fret of strings 3 and 2. Now let's take a look at pattern 1, how to count the rhythm and how to apply it to our chord progression. Here's pattern 1 played slowly on a C chord. I'm starting by picking string 1 with my ring finger, then string 3 with my index finger, string 2 with my middle finger, then strings 4, 3, and 2 with my thumb, index finger, and middle finger. The rhythm of this pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let's apply this first pattern to our chord progression, starting on E minor. Then we'll go to A minor add 9, then to D, then to G major 7, then we'll go to C, then to G, then to A minor, and we finish on D. You can cycle through this chord progression as many times as you would like, and after the final D chord, then I like to end by picking all 4 strings on G major 7. For each of the 4 play-alongs in this lesson, I'll cycle through our chord progression 3 times, and then I'll end on a G major 7 chord after the final D chord in the 3rd progression. For the tempo, all of the play-alongs will be at 45 beats per minute. So if you'd like to set your metronome, you can set it at 45. And if a slower tempo would be helpful, then you can slow down the playback speed of the video down in the video settings. Now let's move into our first play-along using pattern 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you're enjoying this lesson, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel, then welcome. I'm Lara. I'm a musician, a composer, and a ukulele teacher, and I hope you have fun exploring my channel, my tutorials, and my arrangements. If you'd like to download a PDF of the lesson materials for this video, you can do so from my Patreon page, along with my songbook covering all of the songs that I've shared in my tutorials. You'll find the link down below in the video description. Now let's look at how to play pattern 2, and then we'll move into our second play along. Here's pattern 2 played slowly on a C chord. The difference between pattern 1 and pattern 2 is the 5th note. So in pattern 1, we play the 3rd string as our 5th note. And in pattern 2, we play the 1st string as our 5th note. So comparing them, we have pattern 1, and then pattern 2. It's a slight difference, but significant enough that the patterns do sound quite different, especially when alternating between them. Now let's do our second play along using pattern 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that you've learned both patterns, let's take a look at how to combine them in our next chord progression. We'll apply pattern 1 to the first 4 chords and pattern 2 to the last 4 chords, and then we'll move into our third play along. Now for this next chord progression, we're going to use both patterns. You'll notice the number 1 in red next to the first 4 chords, indicating that we'll play pattern 1 on those chords, and then the number 2 in blue next to the last 4 chords. So starting on E minor, we'll play pattern 1, and then move to A minor, add 9, still on pattern 1, then to D, then to G major 7. Now for the next 4 chords, we're switching to pattern 2, starting with C, then to G, then A minor, and then to D. Now let's do our third play along using patterns 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Moving into our fourth and final play along. For this one, we'll go back and forth between patterns 1 and 2, alternating with each chord. For example, we're starting on E minor with pattern 1, then we'll go to A minor, add 9 with pattern 2. We'll continue going back and forth between patterns 1 and 2 for the rest of the chord progression. Now let's do our fourth play along, alternating between patterns 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've enjoyed learning this beautiful chord progression and arpeggio patterns. Have fun practicing and playing along with me, and thanks for watching.